So we're going to take a question from over here.
You just mentioned something we mentioned quite opposite. As Asian actors, or actors of Asian heritage, does it bother you when they kind of lump together Japanese, Chinese, Korean, something over there? Casting seems to go sometimes.
Yeah, does it bother me that whenever I see they lump together Asian actors, and then, you know, if you watch Joy Luck Club is supposed to be about Chinese women. There's everything in there. There's Japanese, there's Chinese, there's Vietnamese, and Hollywood does tend to lump it together. I do not have a problem with it. I have more of a problem with it if, for instance, it's a Korean family, mom and dad, and then the kid, the son, is supposed to be Korean, but they cast it with a Filipino actor, extremely dark-skinned Filipino. So then it looks like, wait a minute, how did he come out of those two? You know, I mean, it's a little. But if they're Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, I think they're fairly interchangeable. You know, but there is a lot of anger amongst actual Korean Americans whenever a role is being cast. As for instance, I was playing Ensign Kim. My last name is Wang, W-A-N-G, pronounced Wang. The reason why W-A-N-G is Northern China, W-O-N-G is Southern China, but it's all pronounced the same. So it's not Wang. Only in America do the people bastardize the A, you know, unfortunately. But I have no problem with people playing different things, but people that are of that ethnicity, the Korean Americans in this country, they had a problem with it. I remember I was sitting at Borders Books outside, just reading a book in LA, and there's a table right next to me, probably the distance between you and I, right here. And it was all these Korean American UCLA students, right? And they were talking about midterms, this and that, move. And then all of a sudden, one of them out of the blue goes, and what is up with that Chinese dude playing Korean on Voyager? And I'm sitting right, they don't even know I'm there, right? So I'm holding this book at Borders, I cover my face, and I slowly get up, and I walk away with a book like that. I was like, I'm about to get my butt kicked by 4 Korean, you know, college students. Right? But they didn't think that was cool. They were very upset about that. Now, the funny thing about Ensign Kim is the most popular Korean name in all of the world, okay? Most of y'all know that. Most people, even if you have no idea about, you know, this and that, they know Kim is Korean. It's very, very basic. And then people wonder, well, why are there so many Kims in the world? The story I was told was that the first emperor of China, he subjugated Koreans, and his last name was Chin, C-H-I-N. The Chinese translation of Chin into Korean is Kim. So supposedly he told a lot of Koreans, you take my last name. And they were like, okay. So, I mean, but that's one of the stories I heard. But the thing is, the point is this, Kim is Korean. Now, throughout the whole series of Voyager, Kim says things like this. He'll say, you know, Paris, there's an old Chinese saying. Okay? Kim said that a lot. And I was like, okay, whatever. Now, at the end of Voyager, there's a US spy plane that kind of crashed, landed in China. Do you guys remember this? So then China goes, cool! And the US says, can we have our spy plane back? And China said, what spy plane? They were stalling because they were reverse engineering everything. Right. They took apart they took everything in that plane apart, okay? Because when they handed it back, they handed it back with like a bag with extra screws and bolts. They didn't know where they found it. Oh, by the way, this is yours too. You know? So the US is like, okay, you took everything apart. But there was talk about this is an international incident, there may be war between China and the US, and me being Chinese American, I thought, oh my gosh, that'd be horrible, you know? I mean, I don't want that to happen. So I waltzed myself into that office of the producers of Voyager, and I said, look, I know you guys have finished writing the script for Enterprise, for the new Star Trek show. You already have the characters set, but you haven't cast them yet. So I would suggest that you change the character of Hoshi Sato, which is a Japanese name, to Chinese. And then Brennan Braga looks at me and says, well, why would I do that? I said, because, Brennan, the whole US spy plane thing, and in China, there could be war, and why don't you just, this is a goodwill thing towards US and China if you did this. And he goes, we've already had a Chinese character in Star Trek. I go, who? And he goes, you. Kim is Chinese. I go, just like the Germans in Germany. All the room in the office was gone because I inhaled all of it. I thought, you are an educated, college-educated writer who should be intelligent, and you guys thought Kim was Chinese? Yeah. The entire time of 7 years of Voyager, in their minds, Kim was a Chinese last name, okay? And then that made perfect sense to me. All those times I walked down the corridor and said, you know, there's an old Chinese saying. You know how I wrote that off? I wrote that off up as, oh, he's Korean, but he did Chinese studies in Starfleet Academy. You know? But no, they had no clue that Kim was Korean, okay? So there you go. So that, yeah, when that kind of thing happens, when your own producer screws it up, yeah, that bugs me, you know? Anyway, thank you so much, guys.